It's been really interesting for me to explore this new approach to well-being and see how the things that we used to talk about, blockages, all the stuff that we see as getting in the way of well-being, and seeing how that works. The way that I see it now, well-being comes from this well of being. So it rises up, it's life itself expressing itself through us as this well of being. And it becomes more and more complex. As life looks for more and more experiences, it becomes more complex. And so there are more moving parts in life. And then there are many, many different parts, of course, because we're interacting with all of the other elements of life, other human beings and animals and plants and everything in our environment. So all of this has its own well-being. Every part of life has its own well-being. And it's all interacting. And sometimes, as we know, things happen that one bit's well-being really gets in the way of another bit. So, for example, yesterday, I was walking past a pavement and I caught my toe on the edge of it, and it felt to me like the pavement got in my way. Of course, it didn't really. It's like maybe I got in the way of the pavement. I don't know. But it disrupted something because now my toe's covered with a big bruise, and there's some well-being needed there. So things happen in life where the parts kind of cut across each other. And it could be a parent who's told you something when you were young and you're still holding on to it, all this kind of stuff that we're very familiar with. But I think the point about it is if we keep nourishing our well-being and we keep letting that feed into our life, it very naturally creates a kind of coherence and harmony around our system. And so we tend towards more well-being rather than tending towards more chaos. And sometimes when we start to have thoughts that get in the way of our well-being, we start to think about things that don't make us feel well. Like we think, oh, I'm not really good enough. I don't think I can do this. Or we think, oh, I'm so alone. Or I'm different. I'm weird. I don't fit in. These are normal thoughts for us to have. But if those thoughts become very stable, it's like they cloud your experience of well-being. They become dominant. They become the story that you tell. What's beautiful is when you tap into the well of being, you're able to retell your stories or reshape your stories. They reshape around the streams of life. And so the way of changing your stories, the way of dealing with what gets in the way of well-being is much, much simpler. And I think that's one of the most powerful and profound things about this way, is that by nourishing or by giving space for well-being in your own life, the well-being makes you well. Then you don't actually have to do all the hard work of it. You let life itself do it. And it's a really beautiful, solid, strong feeling.